Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a moment in every person's life when they realize something important. Change does not always come from giant breakthroughs. It does not always arrive through luck, talent, or dramatic overnight success. More often, change begins with something small, something simple, something so easy that most people overlook it. We live in a world obsessed with speed. We want fast results, instant growth, immediate success. We want to wake up tomorrow stronger, richer, wiser, happier. But life does not work that way. Nature does not work that way. A tree does not grow in one night. Muscles are not built in one workout. Trust is not built in one conversation. Greatness is never created in a moment. It is created in moments repeated consistently. And that is why today I want to talk to you about one habit, one simple 20-minute habit that has the power to completely transform your life. That habit is this: spend 20 intentional minutes every single day in focused self-investment. 20 minutes. That's it. Not 20 hours, not a perfect morning routine, not a life overhaul. Just 20 minutes every day dedicated to becoming better than you were yesterday. Because when you consistently invest small amounts of time into yourself, you create momentum. And momentum changes everything. Today, I want to share 5 key reasons why this habit can change your life forever. Most people believe they are stuck because they lack talent, money, connections, or opportunity. They tell themselves, if I had better circumstances, then my life would change. But in many cases, that is not the real problem. The real reason people stay trapped is not a lack of ability, it is a lack of clarity. When you do not know where you are going, every road feels confusing. When you do not know what matters most, everything feels urgent. When you do not understand yourself, life becomes a constant reaction instead of an intentional creation. That is why the first and perhaps most powerful part of the 20-minute habit is reflection. Reflection creates clarity, and clarity changes everything. We live in a noisy world. From the moment we wake up, something is demanding our attention. Notifications, deadlines, family responsibilities, social media, emails, problems to solve, bills to pay. Many people start their day by reaching for their phone before they even fully open their eyes. Before their own thoughts have a chance to speak, the world is already shouting at them. Then they wonder why they feel anxious, overwhelmed, and disconnected. The problem is not that life is busy. The problem is that busyness without reflection leads to directionless living. Imagine driving a car at full speed with no destination entered into the map. You may be moving fast, but movement alone does not guarantee progress. You can spend years working hard and still end up far from the life you truly wanted. Hard work matters, but clear direction matters first. This is where 20 minutes of reflection becomes life-changing. Reflection is the pause that allows wisdom to catch up with activity. It is the moment you stop running long enough to ask, why am I running? Where am I going? Is this even the road I want to be on? Those questions are powerful because they force honesty. And honesty is where transformation begins. Reflection does not require anything complicated. You do not need a perfect room, expensive tools, or hours of free time. You only need willingness. Sit quietly with a notebook. Take a walk without distractions. Close the laptop. Put the phone away. Give yourself permission to think. Ask yourself simple but important questions. What is draining my energy right now? What gives me meaning? What habits are helping me? What habits are hurting me? What am I avoiding? What do I need to let go of? What would make today meaningful? These questions may seem small, but they uncover truths many people spend years ignoring. Studies in psychology consistently show that journaling and self-reflection can reduce stress, improve emotional control, and increase self-awareness. Why does this happen? Because thoughts spinning endlessly in your head often feel bigger than they really are. But once you write them down, they become visible. And once they become visible, they become manageable. A fear written on paper can be challenged. A goal written on paper can be planned. A mistake written on paper can become a lesson. There was a young man who felt frustrated every day at work. He complained constantly. He believed his boss was the problem, his company was the problem, and the market was the problem. But when he began spending 20 minutes each morning reflecting, he noticed something surprising. His greatest frustration was not the job itself, it was that he had stopped growing. He was doing the same tasks every day with no learning, no challenge, and no purpose. That realization changed his next move. Instead of quitting emotionally, he began building new skills intentionally. Within a year, he moved into a role that energized him. The job had not trapped him. Lack of clarity had. Many people make permanent decisions based on temporary emotions because they never pause long enough to understand what they truly feel. Reflection protects you from that. It helps you separate facts from feelings, fear from truth, pressure from purpose. It also helps you notice progress. So many people feel like failures because they only measure giant milestones. But reflection reminds you that growth is often subtle. You handled stress better this week. You communicated more honestly. You stayed disciplined one more day. You recovered faster from disappointment. Those wins matter. Reflection helps you see them. And when you see progress, you gain hope. Hope is powerful because people can endure difficulty when they believe it is leading somewhere meaningful. Clarity creates that belief. It gives pain a purpose and effort a direction. 20. Love. Minutes of reflection can also improve relationships. Often conflict with others is really conflict within ourselves. We react harshly because we are tired. We become defensive because we feel insecure. We withdraw because we fear rejection. Reflection helps you recognize your patterns before they damage the people around you. When you understand yourself better, you respond to others better. So many people are searching for answers in the outside world while ignoring the wisdom available inside their own honest attention. Ladies and gentlemen, your future is not only shaped by the actions you take, it is shaped by the questions you ask. And if you never stop to ask the right questions, you may spend years building a life that does not truly belong to you. Take 20 minutes. Be still. Listen deeply, right? Honestly. Think clearly. Because the moment you gain clarity, confusion loses its power. Fear loses its control. Distraction loses its grip. And when you know who you are, what matters, and where you are going, you no longer move randomly through life. You move with purpose. If reflection gives you direction, then learning gives you power. Once you become clear about where you want to go, the next question becomes, how do you get there? And the answer is simple. Grow into the person capable of reaching that future. Many people dream about a better life, but they underestimate one truth. The life you want often requires skills, knowledge, and thinking patterns you do not yet have. Wanting more is not enough. Wishing is not enough. Potential alone is not enough. Growth is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. That is why the second part of the 20-minute habit is so powerful. Spend 20 minutes every day learning. We live in one of the greatest opportunities in human history. Never before has so much knowledge been available to so many people. You can learn business from experts, communication from world-class speakers, health from researchers, love, leadership from great minds, and practical skills from professionals around the world, often from your phone, your laptop, or a library book. Yet many people remain unchanged, not because knowledge is unavailable, but because learning is not prioritized. They scroll for hours but say they have no time. They consume entertainment daily but postpone education. They wait for motivation instead of building discipline. And then they wonder why their results stay the same year after year. The truth is this: if your habits do not change, your future rarely changes. 20 minutes may sound too small to matter, but never underestimate consistency. 20 minutes a day becomes more than 2 hours a week. It becomes over 10 hours a month. It becomes more than 120 hours a year. That is enough time to finish books, complete courses, develop marketable skills, and completely reshape how you think. Small-time investments become massive life returns. Think about someone who wants to improve financially. They may feel trapped by debt, stress, or a paycheck that disappears too quickly. It is easy to believe the answer is simply earn more money. But often the first breakthrough comes from learning how money works. Understanding budgeting, saving, compound growth, investing, and emotional spending habits can change a person's financial future forever. A person who spends 20 minutes a day learning financial literacy for 1 year will make decisions differently than the person who avoids the subject entirely. One remains confused. The other becomes empowered. The same is true in every area of life. If you want better relationships, learn communication. If you want confidence, learn emotional resilience. If you want career growth, learn valuable skills. If you want peace, learn how the mind works. If you want leadership, learn how to serve others. Your problems often shrink when your understanding grows. There is a story of a woman who felt invisible at work. She was talented, hardworking, and dependable, yet others kept getting promoted. She assumed the system was unfair. Maybe part of it was. But instead of staying bitter, she committed 20 minutes a day to learning communication and leadership skills. She studied how to present ideas clearly, how to build trust, and how to speak with confidence. Months later, people began to notice her differently. Not because she became a different person, but because she developed the ability to express the value that was already inside her. Learning reveals hidden potential. And here's something important. Learning is not only about information, it is about transformation. Many people know what to do, but do not do it. Why? Because true learning changes behavior, not just memory. If you read about discipline, but never practice it, you collected words, not wisdom. If you study health, but ignore your body, you gathered facts, not growth. The goal is not to know more. The goal is to become more. That means when you spend your 20 minutes learning, do it intentionally. Do not consume random noise. Choose subjects connected to the future you want to create. Read with purpose. Listen with focus. Take notes. Apply one lesson immediately. Even one idea can change your life when acted upon. A single communication lesson can save a relationship. A single financial principle can stop years of waste. A single mindset shift can free you from fear. A single skill can open doors no one else can open for you. This is why lifelong learners remain valuable in a changing world. Industries evolve. Technology disrupts. Old systems disappear. But the person who knows how to learn can adapt again and again. That ability is priceless. And do not let insecurity stop you. Some people avoid learning because they feel behind. They are embarrassed they do not know enough. But there is no shame in being a beginner. The only real loss is pretending you know while refusing to grow. Every expert was once confused. Every leader was once inexperienced. Every master once started at zero. The difference is they kept learning when others stopped. Ladies and gentlemen, if you give 20 minutes a day to learning, you are sending a message to yourself. My future matters. My growth matters. I refuse to stay the same. That daily decision builds confidence because you know you are preparing for opportunities before they arrive. You are not waiting to be chosen. You are becoming ready. Years from now, the gap between two people may not be talent. It may not be luck. It may simply be that one person spent 20 minutes a day growing while the other spent 20 minutes a day drifting. So read the book, start the course, listen to the lesson, study the skill, ask better questions, stay curious. Because the person you become is shaped by what you repeatedly feed your mind. And when you learn daily, you do not just gain knowledge. You gain options, strength, confidence, and freedom. There is something many people misunderstand about success, happiness, and personal growth. They believe progress is only a mental game. They think if they can just think better, plan better, or motivate themselves enough, everything else will fall into place. But there is a truth we often ignore. The mind and the body are deeply connected. The way you move your body affects the way you think, feel, decide, and show up in the world. That is why the third part of the 20-minute habit is so powerful. 20 minutes of movement can transform your energy, your mood, and your life. So many people wake up tired, move through the day stressed, and go to sleep mentally drained. They say they have no energy to chase goals, no strength to fix habits, no focus to do meaningful work. But often the issue is not a lack of ambition. It is a lack of physical activation. We were not designed to sit still all day while expecting to feel alive. Modern life has made movement optional. We sit in cars, sit at desks, sit on couches, and scroll through screens for hours. Then we wonder why our minds feel heavy, our bodies feel sluggish, and our motivation disappears. Energy does not always come from rest alone. Sometimes energy comes from movement. When you move your body, you change your internal state. Science supports this clearly. Regular movement helps release endorphins, reduce stress hormones, improve circulation, sharpen focus, and support better sleep. Even short periods of exercise can improve mood and mental clarity. You do not need to become an athlete to benefit. You simply need to move consistently. That is the beauty of the 20-minute habit. It removes excuses. You do not need expensive equipment. You do not need the perfect gym. You do not need a trainer standing beside you. You do not need 2 free hours. You need 20 minutes and a decision. Walk around your neighborhood. Stretch in your room. Do body weight exercises. Follow a simple workout online. Ride a bicycle. Dance to music. Practice yoga. Climb stairs. The form matters less than the consistency. A woman once said she felt like she had lost herself after years of stress and responsibilities. She was caring for everyone else but neglecting her own well-being. She did not have time for complicated fitness plans, so she started with one promise: 20 minutes of walking every morning before anyone else woke up. At first, it seemed too small to matter, but within weeks, something changed. Her stress decreased. Her thoughts felt clearer. She became more patient with her family. She started making healthier food choices. She smiled more. The walk did more than strengthen her body, it reintroduced her to herself. That is the hidden power of movement. It often improves areas of life that seem unrelated. When your body feels stronger, your confidence grows. When your stress decreases, your relationships improve. When your focus sharpens, your work improves. When your sleep improves, your patience improves. One healthy action creates a chain reaction. Many people wait to feel motivated before they move. But motivation is unreliable. Some mornings you will feel ready. Many mornings you will not. That is why discipline matters more than emotion. Do it tired. Do it uninspired. Do it on the days you don't feel like it. Because often, the hardest part is starting. Once you begin, your body responds. Your mind follows. What felt impossible at 7 a.m. feels manageable by 7:05. There is also something deeply symbolic about movement. Every time you exercise, stretch, walk, or train, you are sending yourself a message: I matter enough to care for. My health is worth protecting. My future is worth investing in. That message is powerful, especially for people who have spent years criticizing themselves. Movement shifts the relationship you have with yourself. Instead of punishing your body, you begin honoring it. Instead of hating your reflection, you begin respecting your effort. Instead of focusing only on appearance, you begin appreciating capability. You celebrate that you can move, breathe, grow, and improve. And remember, progress is not always dramatic. Sometimes the first win is not weight loss or visible strength. Sometimes the first win is simply having more energy in the afternoon. Sometimes it is fewer anxious thoughts. Sometimes it is walking upstairs without exhaustion. Sometimes it is keeping a promise to yourself for 7 days in a row. Those wins count. Too many people quit because they expect immediate transformation. But real change often happens quietly before it becomes visible. Roots grow underground before the tree rises above the surface. Stay consistent long enough to see what small actions can become. A man struggling with low confidence once began doing 20 minutes of exercise each day. Nothing extreme push-ups, walking, and stretching. Months later, he looked healthier, yes. But the biggest change was not in the mirror. It was in how he carried himself. He spoke with more certainty. He faced challenges with more courage. Why? Because every day he had practiced doing something difficult. His body trained his mindset. That is why movement is more than fitness. It is preparation for life. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want more energy, do not only ask how to rest more. Ask how to move more. If you want a stronger mind, do not ignore the body that carries it. If you want to change your life, begin with actions that change your state. Take 20 minutes. Walk when you feel stuck. Stretch when you feel tense. Train when you feel weak. Move when you feel unmotivated. Because motion creates momentum. And momentum can pull you out of places where motivation never could. Your body is not separate from your dreams. It is the vehicle that carries them. Treat it with care, challenge it with discipline, and watch how your entire life begins to rise with it. There is a reason so many people admire confidence, discipline, and success in others. These qualities seem powerful. They seem rare. They seem like something certain people are simply born with. But that belief is one of the biggest lies that holds people back. Confidence is not reserved for the gifted. Discipline is not granted to a lucky few. Success is not built only by those with perfect circumstances. These qualities are developed. And one of the strongest ways to develop them is through 20 minutes of focused progress every single day. The fourth part of the 20-minute habit is this: use 20 minutes daily to move one meaningful goal forward. Not someday, not when life gets easier, not when fear disappears. Today, many people spend years waiting for the perfect moment to begin. They wait until they have more money, more time, more certainty, more support, more confidence. But life rarely hands out perfect conditions. If you wait until everything feels right, you may wait forever. The truth is, readiness often comes after you start, not before. Think about how a child learns to walk. They do not wait until they are guaranteed success. They try, fall, rise again, and slowly become stronger. If adults approached goals with the same courage children approach learning, many lives would look very different. Yet as we grow older, fear becomes louder. We fear failure. We fear judgment. We fear wasting effort. We fear not being good enough. So instead of beginning imperfectly, we remain stuck perfectly still. This is why 20 minutes matters so much. It makes the challenge small enough to start and meaningful enough to matter. A dream can feel overwhelming. 20 minutes feels possible. Writing a book sounds intimidating. Writing for 20 minutes feels manageable. Starting a business feels risky. Working on one idea for 20 minutes feels realistic. Learning a language feels difficult. Practicing for 20 minutes feels achievable. Preparing for an exam feels stressful. Studying for 20 minutes feels doable. Small commitments defeat big resistance. And once you begin, something important happens. You gather evidence that you are capable. Confidence is built through evidence, not empty words, not wishing, not pretending. Evidence. Every time you sit down and do the work, you prove to yourself that you can take action despite doubt. Every time you return the next day, you prove that your commitment is real. Every time you improve a little, you create trust in your own ability. That trust becomes confidence. There was a young man who dreamed of launching an online business. He had ideas for years, but fear kept delaying him. He thought he needed a perfect website, advanced skills, and a flawless plan. Finally, he made one rule: 20 minutes every evening dedicated to progress. One night he researched customers. Another night he designed a logo. Another night he wrote product descriptions. Another night he learned marketing basics. Those small sessions eventually became a real business. What changed first was not his income. It was his identity. He stopped seeing himself as someone who wanted to start and became someone who was building. That shift is everything. Action changes identity faster than intention ever will. Many people suffer because they measure progress only by giant milestones. They think if results are not dramatic, nothing is happening. But success often grows invisibly before it becomes visible. A seed underground looks like nothing, yet roots are forming. Strength is developing. Growth is happening where eyes cannot see. Your 20 minutes may not feel life-changing in one day, but over months and years, it becomes extraordinary. 20 minutes a day is over 120 hours a year. Imagine what can happen when you invest 120 focused hours into a goal that matters deeply to you. A skill can become expertise. An idea can become income. A hobby can become mastery. A weakness can become strength. A dream can become reality. The key is not intensity. The key is consistency. Some people sprint for 1 week and quit. Others move steadily for years and transform everything. The world notices the result, but rarely sees the daily effort that created it. And let us talk honestly about difficult days. There will be days when progress feels slow. Days when you are tired. Days when life becomes heavy. Days when distractions multiply. Days when you doubt whether any of it matters. Those are the days your 20 minutes matter most. Because anyone can work when inspired. Growth belongs to those who continue when inspiration is absent. On those days, lower the pressure but keep the promise. If you cannot do your best work, do honest work. If you cannot make giant progress, make small progress. If you cannot feel confident, act with courage anyway. Momentum is fragile. Protect it. The habit of returning matters more than the size of any single effort. And there is another gift hidden in focused progress, self-respect. When you repeatedly abandon your goals, a quiet disappointment grows. Inside you, you begin doubting your own word. But when you consistently show up even in small ways, you restore respect for yourself. You begin to believe, if I say I will do something, I do it. That belief becomes power in every area of life. Ladies and gentlemen, the distance between where you are and where you want to be may feel large today, but distance is crossed one step at a time. Do not be discouraged by how far you have to go. Be encouraged that you can move today. Take 20 minutes. Open the notebook. Make the call. Study the lesson. Practice the craft. Build the dream. Start before you feel ready. Because one day, people may look at your success and call it talent, luck, or timing. But you will know the truth. It was built in quiet moments. It was built in ordinary days. It was built 20 minutes at a time. There comes a moment in every person's journey when they realize something deeper than success, deeper than goals, deeper than achievement. They realize that the greatest battle is not about getting more, it is about becoming more. Many people spend years asking the wrong question. They ask, what do I need to do to be successful? What strategy will make me happy? What shortcut will change my life? These questions are common, but they miss the most important truth of all. Your life does not permanently change when you simply do new things. Your life changes when you become a new person. That is why the fifth and final part of the 20-minute habit matters so much. It is not only about reflection, learning, movement, or progress. Those actions are powerful, but their deepest purpose is identity transformation. The real power of 20 intentional minutes a day is that it changes how you see yourself. And once identity changes, behavior begins to follow naturally. Think about it this way. A person who says, I'm trying to get healthy, often negotiates with discipline. They may skip workouts, ignore rest, or make excuses when life gets busy. But a person who says, I am a healthy person, approaches choices differently. They do not need motivation for every decision because their actions are connected to who they believe they are. A person who says, I want to write a book, may wait for inspiration. But a person who says, I am a writer, sits down and writes, even when the mood is absent. A person who says, I hope I become confident, may keep avoiding challenges. But a person who says, I am someone who faces discomfort, begins acting with courage. Identity shapes action more than desire does. This is why many people struggle with habits. They try to change behavior without changing belief. They attempt to force actions that conflict with the story they carry about themselves. If someone secretly believes I always quit, then discipline feels unnatural. If someone believes I'm not smart enough, then learning feels threatening. If someone believes I'm unlucky, then effort feels pointless. If someone believes I'm not worthy, then success can feel uncomfortable. The outer struggle is often rooted in an inner identity. But here is the good news. Identity is not fixed. It is formed. And what is formed can be reformed. Every day through repeated actions, you cast votes for the person you are becoming. When you spend 20 minutes reflecting, you vote for becoming self-aware. When you spend 20 minutes learning, you vote for becoming wise. When you spend 20 minutes moving, you vote for becoming strong. When you spend 20 minutes progressing, you vote for becoming disciplined. One action may feel small, but repeated actions become evidence, and evidence changes belief. There was a man who had failed many times in business. After enough disappointments, he stopped seeing himself as someone capable. He introduced himself to life as a failure before life even had the chance to respond. Every new opportunity felt risky because it threatened the identity he had accepted. Then he made one small commitment, 20 minutes each day to build again. He studied, planned, improved, and acted in small steps. At first, nothing dramatic happened. But after months of consistency, something bigger than money changed. He no longer saw himself as a failure. He saw himself as resilient. He saw himself as someone who keeps going. And that new identity gave him the courage to create opportunities he once would have avoided. The greatest victory was internal before it ever became external. This is why small habits matter more than dramatic promises. Many people make emotional declarations. Starting tomorrow, everything changes. This year will be different. I will become a whole new person overnight. But identity rarely changes through one grand moment. It changes through repeated proof. You do not become disciplined by making one speech to yourself. You become disciplined by keeping small promises repeatedly. You do not become confident by thinking positive thoughts once. You become confident by surviving challenges again and again. You do not become successful by wanting it deeply. You become successful by aligning daily actions with the person you want to become. And that is why 20 minutes is enough to begin. Because transformation does not require a perfect schedule. It requires consistency. There will be days when you feel powerful. There will be days when you feel weak. There will be days when life praises you. There will be days when life tests you. Keep showing up. Because every time you show up, you reinforce identity. Every time you choose growth over comfort, identity strengthens. Every time you choose discipline over excuses, identity strengthens. Every time you choose courage over fear, identity strengthens. Soon, what once felt difficult becomes natural. The disciplined person no longer argues.